to hear a young lady or young man walk up to me and say something to the effect of, because of your presentation, I'm no longer going to kill myself. I was planning on it today. That's what I do it for. I had a World War II veteran come up to me at a speech one time in a church in Palo Alto. And the guy must have been 85 years old. And he said, I was going to off myself tomorrow. I'm no longer going to do that, and I never will. Thank you. And he walked away. I'm not touting my horn. I'm saying that we as human beings are our brothers and sisters' keepers. And if we don't wake up and realize that it's not just us in this world, that all that is, we're not alone. We're not alone. And no person in a fight for their life is alone. There's millions of people out there that are fighting just as you are. Find that network. Talk about the issues. There was a time when I first started speaking that I would talk in a very low voice in public places because of my paranoia, but also because I didn't want people to hear me talk about my mental illness. Today, I'll probably shout it in a coffee shop, in a library, hell. Because if people ask me questions and I answer them, they're going to get the information they so desired, and they're also going to get the fact that, let's stop hiding. Let's all come out and talk about this. And look at what happened to Owen Wilson. He attempted, it was on the news for half a second, his managerial team shut it down, he never spoke about it again. Owen Wilson is in a position to save way more lives than me. I'm not saying he has to do that. I'm saying he has an opportunity and had an opportunity at that particular moment to say, hey kids, I made a mistake. I'm so glad I'm here. You should be here too. He just had to do it one time and the whole world would see it. As opposed to what did happen was the managerial team said, if you don't be quiet, we're not going to hire you. And we have to know you're healed. Now we have to have an insurance policy on you. We have to know you're healed. And movies were more important to him than helping other people. I'm not trying to judge Owen Wilson. There's millions of Owen Wilsons out there who have these issues with their mental health, don't address them, get sick publicly and don't address them publicly. And I think there's a failure in the system with that going on. Because imagine how many Catherine Zeta-Jones or Owen Wilsons how amount of lives they could save with a campaign for suicide prevention. Way more than any of the people in the suicide prevention world right now. They have that power, but they are crushed by their managers and their talent agents that say, no, shut up. Makes me sad. But it also makes me work 10 times harder for all suicide prevention causes that I'm involved in. And one of them is the Bridgerail Foundation that my father co-founded. Bridgerail.org is something that is growing by leaps and bounds, and they are the dog in the fight of putting up the net at the Golden Gate Bridge. Or the railing. I say never say never. They didn't approve the railing, but I say never say never. Because they are the dog in the fight, and they have a great many people helping them out on the outside and the outskirts, but they're the guys in San Francisco that are fighting for this to happen. And they got a bill pushed through Congress where they changed the literature of the bill so that if this money is allocated, this highway and transportation funds in 2013, if it is allocated, if the president okays the bill, if the Senate okays the bill because it's passed through parts of Congress, if the Senate passes it and the president passes it, we are talking about something like $200 to $500 million going towards highway and transportation funds. Specifically, the Golden Gate Bridge will be able to get some of those funds to build that net or that barrier and to stop the suicides. And what you will see if that happens is the suicide rate dropping at the GGB and dropping in the metropolitan counties around the GGB. It's just that simple. It's happened all over the world. But we're blind to it. Washington, New York, Paris, suicide barriers. Toronto, suicide barriers. Back when it really wasn't cool. And San Francisco, the most progressive city in the world, they won't do it. That's in their backyard. Every citizen in San Francisco should be fueled up and fired up about why these people who don't want to die but believe they have to, and believe they have no other option are just dying by the hundreds. And they look at them and they go, well, it's not my problem. That's their problem. They chose that way. That was their choice. That's the big thing here. That's your choice. Or, you don't want to ruin the Golden Gate Bridge. It's so beautiful. The aesthetics of a bridge compared to one human life. Just one. Your mother, your sister, your brother, your friend, your loved one. When are we going to wake up and be our brothers and sisters' keepers again? I believe there was a time we were. And, when the first guy jumped, Harold Wabler, when Harold Wabler jumped in 1937, they should have done it then. The bridge was originally set to be built with a 14-foot rail. Do you know that? 14-foot rail. Strauss came in and said, no, I'm 5'2". I want to see over the rail. 4-foot rail. Ease of access to lethal means is killing people. The Bridge District Board are killing people. Remember, there was a story about a man who was coming off the bridge going into San Francisco in the toll booth area. He was paying his toll, and he had seen someone jump. And he said, someone just jumped. You got to call the police. And she said, oh, honey, that happens all the time, with a smile on her face. That is how ignorant they are. Now, there are people in the district who are helping us now, who are fighting this fight and care. They do care. And they okayed the bridge to be, the barrier to the net to be built. But that was in 2010. They're not helping us find the money. They're just stalling us. And they hope we'll go away. When we had when the 75th anniversary of the Golden Gate Bridge happened, that big huge event with the fireworks and whatnot, we had the Bridgewell Foundation section. They pushed us all the way at the end of Crissy Field. We were under a hill, you could barely see us. But you know what? Everybody came. People heard about it, they came. And we had the Whose Shoes exhibit, which you should look up. The Whose Shoes exhibit of the symbolic view of 1,558 pairs of shoes on steps in the amphitheater there, and people were blown away. I told my story probably 40 times that day, 10-minute sections, and people were blown away. And we changed minds that day, and we got really good alliances that day. People care, but the general public is saying, why do you have to do this? They'll just go somewhere else. They don't go somewhere else. We talked about that. They don't. People who jump off bridges and buildings, that was their plan. That was their own plan. So, it takes a lot out of you, especially when I have a severe mental illness that I battle every day, and I fight to keep well, and I do everything I can to stay well. There's a lot of things on that list. I made a 10-step list of these things with a doctor friend of mine, Dr. Dan Reidenberg of Save.org, which is the huge suicide awareness organization. You know Dan. So we created this handbook on how to live mentally well, and from that stemmed off a pamphlet, 10 steps of how to stay mentally well. The things that I do that help me, and I make it clear, they might not help, every one of these steps might not help you, but certainly these steps could be utilized in a proper way to help you get on your feet. And then from that, actually from that came the handbook. And I've written my book, Cracked Not Broken, the Kevin Hines story, and that we hope to get a publisher soon. It's just the book, when you get through to it, the nitty-gritty of it, it's a life story that has so much more to do than just the Golden Gate Bridge. Oh, shoot, pardon me. I didn't know that was on. Shh. All right, so it's I don't know what I was saying.
Book.
Yeah, so it's a story about me, a kid who was, taken from his birth parents at a very early age. So I don't remember them, and whose birth brother died. My only full brother died when we were infants because of neglect. And I had the same bronchitis that he did. He passed away. I lived. In that instance there, I lived for a reason, That reason was maybe to be adopted by Patrick and Deborah Hines. Those are my mom and dad. And they gave me this beautiful life that kids envied. They literally envied it. My block was full of envy for this life that we had. And then 17 and a half rolls around, and I just dive headfirst into a manic, depressive, paranoid, hallucinatory state. And everyone's going, what the hell is wrong with Kevin? And nobody knows what to do. But we all learn pretty quick. And it's the story of my birth family. It's the story of my adopted family. It's a story of, you know, my favorite teacher, who was my mentor, who died by suicide. Literally very soon before I attempted. It's the story of my great uncle Kevin, who in parts of my life, he really saved my life after, you know, being in 7 psych wards in 9 years. You know, this didn't just end when I got out from the Golden Gate Bridge and healed up physically after breaking my back and having my vertebrae splinter into my lower organs. It didn't just, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to get well now. No, it took like 8 years of fighting denial. I don't want to have this disease. I don't believe in it. It's not real. I played football. And today when we talk about these particular concussions that football and soccer players and even baseball players are getting that are causing suicidal thought, I wonder, is that what happened to me? And we don't know enough about the brain today for me to find that out. So that'll just be a ponderance that I have for the rest of my life. Did this occur because, for one reason, I was on Tegretol for epilepsy? I have epilepsy, a seizure disorder. Did this occur because I was on epileptic medication that was also a mood stabilizer and an antidepressant, and when they took me off the medication, I went absolutely crazy? Did this occur because I hit my head too many times? I had several concussions as a child. Is it a combination of those two? Probably. And the too many meds. So it's, you know, you see, and of course I'm going in different directions with the story, but in the book it's all laid out plain as day, and I got to live now almost 12 years past the day I should have died. I don't take for granted any day. I don't take for granted these curtains, these pillows, you, the trees outside, the block I'm walking on. I once heard a story about how a particular rapper, I won't name his name, very affluent, very, very financially successful, educated man, and a true entrepreneur. He was talking on camera and he said, I did all of this myself. I did all of this all by myself. Typical narcissist. And I looked at the TV and I thought, did you pave the road below your giant building that you occupy every room in with clothes? Did you invent electricity? Or how about the internet? Did you invent the internet? Where you market your social world? I know, you invented the book. That's what you did. You made books happen. And I just go through this list in my head, and of course I'm talking to the television, but I'm like, dude, bull. You didn't start anything but a record company. Big deal. And you wonder, and you think to yourself, like, these people exist everywhere. I'm probably half a narcissist. I don't know. Whatever. But these people exist everywhere, and they believe the world owes them something. I'm of the opinion that we owe the world something. And I am maybe naive enough to think that I can change the world. But you know what? I'm going to try damn hard to change the world of suicidal thought and mental health equality for all. I'm going to try damn hard to change that world. And if that affects the world around us, good. So, there it is.